Hey guys, it's Ann and the Small Business Connections, and I gave it a name because I thought it should have a name. And today we have a special guest because I've been talking to a lot of parents who are panicking and they're freaking out. And I happen to have a friend who's a good friend who owns Annapolis College Consulting. So she's going to talk to you about why you shouldn't panic and what you should be doing. And she's going to give you a little bit of guidance and tell you a little bit about what she does, which is a lot of really cool stuff. She's got the coolest job ever. But before we get started, I wanted to give you a tip of the day. It's an easy one. I talk a lot about social listening, paying attention to what people are saying about you out there. And that means paying attention to your reviews, but also seeing if you're in the news. And so one of the ways you can find out if somehow you've been mentioned in the news is to set up a Google alert. Just look up Google alerts and it will guide you through. You just put in your name. You can do this for your business. You can do it for other businesses that you keep an eye on. You can do it for people who you're trying to learn more about as far as business referrals go. So there's a lot of good ways to use Google alerts, and it's just another way of social listening. All right, one thing before we have Lee on, and I want to tell you, please subscribe to me on YouTube. Right now we are on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube live on all three of them at one time, which is like, technology, so cool. All right, let me introduce you to Lee Norwood. She is a busy woman, and she owns Annapolis College Consulting. She is helping people with getting their kids into school. But I think most importantly, she's helping them find the right school. And for someone who had a child who went to 3 colleges, I know that's very, very important. So Lee, let me bring you in. If for some reason you're not showing, there you go.
Hi.
Lee, hi. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
I can. Hey, everybody, I'm Lee Norwood. I am the owner of Annapolis College Consulting. I actually bought this business January 1st is when it became mine, but I've been working with the woman who has owned this business for 13 years, Corey Dykman. And, we all have this thing of what are we going to be when we grow up? And it took me till I was 52 to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. And I have 2 kids. One is a freshman at NC State at the Wilson College of Technology. The other is a junior at Severna Park High School. So I have one who's going to the Harvard of Textile Schools and one that loves Cat South and already knows what he wants to do with his life. So I am a college consultant, and I really try to help differentiate kids and make sure they find the right schools, the right fit. But I also don't think college might be for every single student. So we are relevant and we're here to help. And during these crazy times, there's no better time to have help in this corner, because it's the most expensive decision you're making for your child so far.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, one thing we get, and I didn't tell you I was going to throw this out there, but I'm going to throw it out there. We hear a lot that, my kid's not going to community college. And I will tell you, when Ethan chose to go to Anne Arundel Community College first, and then move on to hit the school of his choice, I had the same attitude. I was like, are you sure? But it was wonderful for him. So I think what you said is right, that it's not for everybody, and there are different ways of getting there. So I love that you have that. I put this up here because you said this when I said, let's talk about this. You said, oh God, parents are panicking. What are they panicking about mostly, do you think?
So parents are panicking because they don't have a crystal ball. The SAT was just canceled. Their kids are doing e-school. Their college counselor or guidance counselor isn't down the hall anymore. And oh my gosh, spring break was supposed to be our big visit to all these colleges with our juniors. And now it's like, wow, we don't get to do any of that. So what's the choice? Do we stay in state? Do we stay close? Do we take a gap year? Do we go to community college? Well, is breathe.
Yeah.
And nobody's in the same boat. My boat is a center console, 24-foot, well-craft. Everybody's in a different boat, but the seas are the same for everybody right now. And just breathe and don't panic.
Exactly. Well, let's start with college visits. You can't go. I was thinking about this. My kids hate heat. I don't understand what's wrong with my children, but they hate heat. And so I wanted them to go see Davidson down south. And they were like, I'm not going south. I'm like, but it's not hot all the time. It's only hot during the summer. And then you have this beautiful weather the rest of the year. So the problem is, if I took them in the summertime to visit the school, first of all, nobody's there. And secondly, all they'd find is the heat. So what are you going to do about that? How are they going to handle college visits?
First of all, the whole college world has upped their game as far as virtual tours go. So you should be utilizing the virtual tours that the schools have on their websites. If you ever went on one before, they're different now because they had to up their game. But it's still not the same as being there, going to the information session, getting the vibe. Our team have seen over 531 colleges. So there's 4,000 colleges in the US, but that includes all of them. You can substantially bring that down with the colleges that we're typically looking for our students to go to. We've been on the ground at over 500 of those. We know the subtle nuances, and we do some different kinds of activities with kids to find out where their fit might be, because sometimes your dream school is exactly that. I mean, I'm going to compare this, Ann, to you. You just thought you were moving to a house in Washington, D.C. You were set up.
We were on the way to sign the contract.
You were on the way to sign the contract. You were all in, and you took that turn to look somewhere else, and it felt like home. So yes, you guys who are juniors have been robbed of taking that turn and putting your feet on that campus and finding that home. I found my home at Elon College. I did a 12 college tour. And when I got to Elon, well, I got invited to a party. So of course I decided that's where I wanted to go. But I felt home. You're going to struggle with that a little bit, but it's okay to look online. You can talk with us. We'll help figure out where you might fit. And fit is, well, maybe fits further in the show, but college visits, no one's seeing colleges. You're not alone. They will open back up. I'm going to be positive about this. My crystal ball has positivity around it. And you're going to be okay, because I have kids who just decided now where they're going to go next fall. So look, that's a whole year of visiting. Visiting and applying are two different things.
Right, exactly. All right. So how do you start with the right list? Because just so you know, I had no idea. I'm going to tell you, Ethan Blaze, we knew he was going to go to either the Naval Academy or West Point or something like that. He was an easy kid. Ended up leaving that one and going to another one and then another one. But Ethan, I so let my kids have independence. And Ethan didn't tell me until the very last minute that he had only applied to school. So you should apply to more than one. How do you pick the right list?
That's a personal thing. So nothing I'm going to tell you today, you can't go on the internet and find. But it's personal for you and your child. The right list is going to be a couple different factors. Who is your child and where are they going to thrive? Where do they fit academically? You know, we want to go high, right? We want to go someplace that's going to get us to our goals. You want to go someplace that takes good care of their freshmen. That most colleges only publish their 6-year graduation rate. Well, we want their 4-year rate. Our kids, we want you to go to one school, stay for 4 years and graduate. That's the goal.
Right.
The right list also comes down to geographically. You know, it's easier to get to Florida than it is to get to Virginia Tech from where we live right here. So it's really looking at geographically where you want to be. Your kids don't like the heat. Clearly with your accent, you wanted them to go south.
Of course.
But we want to lay those things out. Size of the college. And we have some assessments we do with picking the right list. But hey, financially, let's get to what everybody's really thinking about. You have to have the right fit financially.
Exactly. I'm going to skip ahead. I'm so sorry I'm going to do this, but I want to skip ahead because of something you just said. So we were going to talk about you being an outside voice for the kids. And I know the point of talking about that is that you're going to say things to the kids that they're not, that the parents may have already said, but they're more likely to listen to an outside voice. In my case, it was that was sort of the thing. I'm like, if we could have just talked Ethan into seeing the college, I know he would, because I know my child really well, I know he would have loved it. But because he's like, no, I'm out, then it changes everything. So that outside voice is really important.
You're right, Anne. The outside voice is really important. And This ain't your mama's college visit anymore. You know, this is 1990 college. The colleges are different, and they are changing to meet the needs of Generation Z. And this outside voice can say, Ethan, do you see yourself between classes sitting in a small group under a tree with your guitar doing some group study? Or do you see yourself really wanting to just focus and have better access to your professors? And those kinds of things can really dial into what might turn a kid on. And I had the most fabulous compliment just last week come from a dad who said, thank you so much for making his best self. This was an average teenage kid having a great time, you know, doing everything right, but not doing anything that's pushing him to his top level, right? We only use how much of our brain? Now he's been student of the week. He's got a project going that's going to have maybe even national repercussions of the good things that he's doing out there. And his GPA went up because he was talking to me, and I told him it's not easy to get into University of Maryland, especially the engineering program. What are we going to do? And what are we going to do that's in your wheelhouse? I wasn't going to tell him to go learn how to knit a sock, right? So I think that's the voice of just being a friend and an expert.
Right. Right. No, I love that. And so you do push them a little bit, but I also love that you let them, because again, Ethan ended up at St. Mary's. It was a wonderful fit for him. I would have never chosen it because I had never been there.
I would have.
Well, I'm going to say this, and hopefully St. Mary's is not upset with me for saying it, but it is the gayest college ever. And I love that.
It's St. Mary's weird, but I love it too. And it's a great place for Ethan to thrive. And you know, that I would have picked that. I would have put that on Ethan's list.
Yeah, that's really, that's where you come in handy. A lot of reasons. There are a lot of reasons. So that's one. So it doesn't have to be stressful. And we talk about this a lot. I run burgers and bands for suicide prevention. So, you know, it's important to me that it's not stressful.
Yes. And especially in the times of COVID and college. I mean, we have enough stress coming at us from lots of different directions. What I think that we do the best, and what I think our number one value is lowering family stress, because I want everyone to take out of their world my neighbor said, my friend's student said, I heard on the news. We want to be a filter for you so that you get the facts and you can breathe and you know that we have a plan. Don't you agree? If you have a plan, things are less stressful.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I love that you're doing that. So let me ask you to tell me a story. Tell me a story about a kid who has been the most fun to work with or the most fun to place.
Okay. I have the most fun kid. So I basically had to tell her she needed to sleep because she was just a complete overachiever, absolute doll, involved in everything. But she started with us early enough that we helped her become more focused, right? We don't want kids just to be busy. Well-rounded is kind of an older term. We want them to have a slight bit of focus, knowing that they're probably going to change their major 2 or 3 times. Hopefully they're not going to change schools because that is stressful. So finding the right fit in the beginning. But we worked with her. She did the right things in the summer, you know, like doing genomes and things with mice and working at Hopkins and taking the right classes, laying out her classes. She's from a public school in Frederick, Maryland, you know, and she took advantage of the APs. She took advantage of doing well on those tests. I will say she has an ethnic difference. So I think that lots of different things can come in and play. Like sometimes diversity means you are a left-handed flute player. Sometimes it means you're of Hispanic origin. You know, that comes into play a little bit. But this student got full rides to incredible schools. She got chosen to interview at the University of Virginia for a full ride. She didn't get the full ride, but she got almost a full ride. Princeton was her reach school. It was her dream school. She didn't get in, but it's okay because the rest on her list were absolutely amazing. I'm still trying to figure out where she's going to go. Villanova, University of Chicago, like crazy cool schools. And this, you know, amazing kid who was just involved in a lot of different things that we were able to focus and help her to stand out. So that was one success story. Another was a girl who came to us this December. This
December.
And, had a little smudge on her, I guess, high school career, suspended for a minute, and just thought that meant that was it. Her world had fallen apart.
Right.
Her grades were average, and oh my gosh, she got caught peeping. And we were able to not only get her a list of schools, show her off, show where she fits. She actually got merit aid because we put her in the right schools, and she got into her dream school because we were able to get her past thinking that had knocked her off. It knocked her off the pedestal. And so we'd certainly rather see you before 1 month before the application is due. But I think, now she's my biggest fan because people make mistakes and colleges are filled with people, real people. So let's get you the right one.
Exactly. All right. So I know one thing that I have read over and over again that is stressing people out are the APs, the SATs, the ACTs. What are they doing about them, and how do we make sure our kids? I going back to Blaze, thinking about all the AP courses he took, and if suddenly he couldn't take the test, then what do you do?
Well, no one can take the test.
Right.
Okay. This year, the class of 2021 is a little bit different. Some schools are going test optional, again, to bring your stress down. Don't stop studying.
Right.
Keep going, because we are going to end up with an online version of these tests. Right now, the ACT hasn't yet canceled their next test. It probably will. The SAT is looking at August and looking at putting a test every single month after that. If it has to go online, it will. Don't panic, but I will say that test optional, these schools that are going test optional, that does not mean test blind. And you still need test scores to differentiate yourself. I actually wrote this down because I didn't want to miss anything. If you want to go into a highly selective major, you want to show test scores. If you want to do a dual degree, if you want to get looked at for the honors program, which is always a great thing to try to do. You get better dorms, better class choices, smaller groups. You get to live with people who have like-minded ideas. And honors programs are amazing. Love the one at Towson. Love the one at South Carolina. If you want scholarships, and sometimes for financial aid, if you're homeschooled, you have to have test scores. International kids have to have test scores. And if you plan to be a D1 or a D2 athlete, you need to have test scores. So keep studying. We are offering an ACT online this Saturday. Just go to our website. It's free, from one of our testing partners. But again, it's great for kids who may be stellar at everything and have a robust list of activities and great grades, and they're just crappy test takers, and that's okay. Some of us are.
Right.
But if you have good scores, we want to show them, because very few schools are test blind. And going test optional, all that's going to do, guys, is just bottleneck the applications. It means more kids are going to apply to schools that maybe they shouldn't have.
Right.
Because that's there.
Well, and you don't want to do that either, right? Because if you end up at a school that is a high stress, high academic, and you're not that kid, it's going to be difficult to fit in. So that's so important that you're in a place that you're going to fit in.
You have to be the place that you want to fit in. And also, let's just think about this. If I know I'm going for a degree to be a doctor later, I know I need to be in the top 20% of my school. Why am I going to put myself at a Harvard and then try to be in the top 20% and then pay that kind of money to then only hope to go on to years of medical school where I could maybe go someplace where I could really shine, have great recommendations from my professors because they know me, and not break the bank? So everybody's different. But I do think that we need to look at all of those pieces. And that's what we do really, really well. We really make you start thinking of things from another point of view, not just one news source, right?
Yeah, I love that. And I love that it is not just mom or dad saying, oh, this is what you should do. Plus, I know nothing about colleges. I mean, I know the colleges that I know, and that's it, right? And you've got all these schools you've seen, all these things, all these things you've helped other kids with, so you've already seen how that works. So I think it's such a great thing that you're doing. I do have a question, and hopefully I'm not throwing you under the bus here. Do you have an email, like a newsletter that you send out, so if people wanted to register for it, they could, sign up for your newsletter and get some of this information from you on a monthly basis?
So Anne, isn't that interesting what I need to do for my business and what you do for your
I
business?
totally did not mean to do that. I'm just always thinking that way. And I'm like, you've got so much information. You need to get this out there.
Yeah, we are, I am right now doing daily updates called COVID in College. And that's for everybody from ones who have to decide where they're going to go now. And my advice is pick the school, put the deposit down, right? Just stop wondering about what ifs. We'll deal with them as they come. But I'm doing daily. I am going to be doing a newsletter, and I highly recommend that you just email me and we'll put you on that list, because I think it's really important. We are an exclusive business. I take, 30 kids and that's it. But I do have 2 partners that also take a finite number of kids. So I have a feeling that my newsletter is going to serve a lot more people informationally. And then those that want to work with us, we're here for you. I have 4 spots left for juniors right now.
Well, I may have somebody who says that she needs to talk to you. Let me go. Where did she say? We totally need to get together. This is Jessica. She has 7 kids.
Oh my God.
So we totally need to get together. I'm meeting her after this. Actually, we have a meeting this afternoon. But so there you go. So maybe she's one of your 4. If anybody has questions, I'm gonna go on to tell you what's happening tomorrow. But if you have questions, you want to email. Let me go back to the email. Take that down. Give me 1 second. It's over here. Go email her. If you want to leave questions here, we're going to be on for a couple more minutes because I want to tell you what's happening tomorrow. And Lee will like this a lot. We have another Lee coming up tomorrow. Aww. We have Lee Pretty, and he's going to be talking about something. What he's done at the company has amazing, because if you guys have followed me at all, you know that we do a lot of things where we get together. Zane's got bands and they all get together. We have on the weekends we go to the local restaurants and we play music there. And suddenly that isn't happening. And I wondered how he would keep. I knew the lessons. You can sign up for lessons. I knew you could do that online. He's done that brilliantly. He's kept all of his teachers working, which is awesome. But he's got the bands practicing. Zane, as a matter of fact, Zane's got 2 practices this afternoon. So don't call me around 3 o'clock because it's just going to be loud in my house. They do it over the computer, but it's very loud. But it's really cool. So we're going to talk about what he has done to make that happen and how that's worked. Hold on, let's see if you got a question up here. Thanks, Lee. 7 a.m. here in Southern California. Great way to wake up. So
that's a whole other situation. For those of you who are going back to Cali, we need to talk because it's a completely different system of application. So I have somebody in California that we work with. Texas is the same way. They both probably want to be their own countries, much like Northern Virginia.
Right.
So they have completely different situations. So again, we would love to guide you through this process.
Yeah, no, and I love that you're doing it. I love how excited you are about it. I do want to talk. You talked about something earlier, and just quickly before we go, you said something about having a project, having something to show. So what should that look like for a kid?
Okay. Colleges want to know what you do when you're not in school. And for some kids, that might be taking care of siblings, and that's okay. I don't want you to feel like you need to go and light the world on fire. But it does look really, really good to have a project. Some kids are already in leadership at their high school. If you like the project you're in, we're going to help you grow it. But for those of you who are high flyers and want to really go for it and go for a higher type of school, highly selective is the word, we're going to find something in your wheelhouse. I have another student, and this is a boy, which is always blows my mind because typically the girls are very organized. This is a boy who his mother does short-term rentals. He cleans them for her. I said, well, what do you do with the food and things people leave? Nobody's flying home with their ketchup, right?
Right.
We brainstormed this together, and he is doing a travel share bag that will be at every one of these short-term rentals and picking that up and then donating it to a shelter. And oh, guess what? Now we're going to start doing it on the West Coast too with my team over there. So an idea that a high schooler had here now has legs and is going to go West Coast. And guess what kind of schools love it when you make a regional or a national impact? So
Right.
that wasn't that far out of the box, but it
Right.
just took someone to pull together. What are you interested in? What are you already doing? How can we not stress you out anymore? And then differentiate you. So this college says, I want him on my campus. I want a kid who can do something like that on our campus. And if his grades are good and other things are good, merit aid offers come. Merit aids are not scholarships. They're discounts the colleges give to students that they want on their campus. And
Right.
he's going to be one of them.
That's great. That's great. I one more question, and I'm going to let you go because I know you're a busy lady. But let's talk about. I want to know what schools are doing or what parents can find out about mental health on a campus. So, what is the suicide rate at the school? What are the things that are in place in case something like that happens? And what are the things that are in place to keep things like that from happening?
Okay. Over the last years, Anne, it has become a very, very hot topic. And most of the colleges out there do have pretty robust mental health services. I have firsthand knowledge about something like that, especially that first semester. It's called the W. You go in excited, you kind of go, argh! You come back for Thanksgiving and you feel better, and then you go back to school, and that's a very challenging time. So schools are addressing that. They're addressing high stress. You can go to the college's website and look that up. I will tell you that I think the University of Tennessee does the most stellar job with just really embracing everything that can happen during that red zone and beyond. But if you want to see what a college should be doing and then compare when you're looking at others, I would say look at the University of Tennessee. That they've blown me away with the things that they're doing. But there is a lot out there. I also have a very good friend, Brain Savvy Coaching. She's been coaching teams and stress and relieving stress and breathing through what you need to be doing. But now she's going to be doing it for students as well. So maybe we can get her on with you. So she's
that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. I'd love that. So, well, congratulations. I love the new business. I knew, when you first started talking about this, I was like, this is so great for you. You're going to have a blast. By the way, you and your daughter look so much alike. It's unbelievable.
Oh, thank
I was looking at pictures of you. Oh my gosh, yes. She got good genes. So she's absolutely
that makes
stunning.
me happy.
I know. All right. Hey, thank you for coming on, and let us know. Again, people can reach you real quick. Lee at AnnapolisCollegeConsulting.com. So reach out to her if you need
Text me too. I'm just like your kids. Text. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, give us your number. You want to give us your number? You want to put it in the comments?
I'll put it in the comments.
That sounds great. All right, Lee, thank you so much for coming on. Bye.